Hello, SuperCoach followers. Great to see you out there. Welcome to the Inner Sanctum SuperCoach show as we look back at round six and head off quickly in 3 days' time into round seven. I'm joined by Mike again this week. How you doing, Mike?
Going much better than my SuperCoach side.
That's the way. And Dan, who managed to keep his SuperCoach side afloat whilst in Japan. How you doing, Dan?
Good, minus a few trades, but good.
Nice one. And our beloved Mick is still at home crying, I think, about Essendon's fall from grace after they led and should have won the game today. So just the three of us today. We'll get stuck right into it. The usual thing we start with the Garys and the Nathans. For those joining us for the first time, these are our people like Gary Ablett's our stars for the round, and also Nathan Ablett's the ones that we are pretty frustrated with, not so flash. I'll start with you, Mike. Give us a Gary and a Nathan from your side for round six.
Yeah, look, I last week my Nathan, if you remember, was Paddy Cripps. I think he must have heard me, must have logged into our episode last week, and
one of the 99 watchers. Good on him. Thanks, Cripsy.
he unlike the rest of his team, he actually had an influence in the game. Tried hard as he has done for the last 5 or 6 years, but I'm going to give him my Gary this round. He turned a 70 into 130, so I was pretty happy with him. But on the flip side, ever since I brought this bloke in, he's been nothing short of woeful.
Who is he?
He's my
He's
my LDU, Luke Davies Uniac. And look, I brought him in when he was all the hype. He's gone 102, he's then gone 83, and then he's gone 72. So I'm close to range trade for LDU this week.
Oh, wow.
Absolutely livid with him. He's my Nathan for sure. I do want to give an honorary mention to my man. I laid into a 5-gamer last week too, Dan, and good old Samson Ryan actually managed to clunk a few marks last night. I think he scored 80 in the mid 80s. So he's redeemed himself in my books as well, Samson.
Nice one. Dan, it's been a while since we've had you, but how's your team looking? Who's your Garys and your Nathans? Oh, straight into it.
Straight into it. I got it locked and loaded. This man, Errol, would just not give anything to be like this guy this week. He was only 47 points, pretty dismal. So he's definitely my Nathan. And unlike Nathan, Nathan at least won a premiership. We've got to remember that. All right, he's a premiership forward.
That's true.
Errol, just wasn't there on the, much like Sydney, wasn't there really on the weekend. And I'm gonna have to go Mike Gary, which I think probably everyone here has him, Bontempelli. No, you don't have him.
No,
superb. He is. What do you reckon? Probably up there, second or first in the Brownlow race.
Yep.
I reckon 183 points. He was an absolute. 182 points. Absolute superstar.
Incredible.
Yeah, he's got to be my Gary.
Yes. Well, after last week, my Nathan was Bevo because he kept playing bloody McRae here, there, and everywhere. But it was good to watch on Friday night. McRae was spending a fair bit more time starting in the middle and managed to get me 130. So Bevo, you're excused for a week or two.
Must have heard you too, Scotty.
What?
Must have heard you.
He did, yeah.
Bevo, number 99.
One of the 99.
Bevo and Cripps are watching. Thanks, guys. My Gary is this man here, Laddie. Only because he's managed to get me 2 or 3 league wins this week. Last week I said I'm giving Ashcroft the flick early, going for a bit of difference there when most people have held on to him. Managed to get him up to lead because he was cheap as he's going to be, and that 60 points difference made me get a couple of league wins. So good on you, Laddie. Thanks, mate. He was, I think he had 10 handballs in a row to start the game. It was only 40 at half time or something, but he flew home. He's a superstar. So, and my Nathan's mate, LDU, I was going to mention him, but you got him. And every week, I think I just have to get rid of him so we don't have to talk about Mr. Brayshaw, Andy Brayshaw from Freo. My gosh, he's just going down and down. He's down to 520,000, only scored 89. I mean, it's partly Longmuir's fault. Didn't even put him in the middle for half the second half. So when the game was on the line, bloody hell, he's got to go, surely. Give up. Cool. All right, so we'll look ahead have a bit of a chat about maybe a bit about the carnage that happened on the weekend. In particular, Mike, I might start with you. Did you bring in Matty Roberts or Tug Miller by any chance?
I didn't know, and not only those two, I think I've avoided most of the carnage this round. Besides having Maxi Gorn on my 0-0 back in round 2, I think I've managed to avoid most of the big SuperCoach names that have dropped out through injury recently. But still doesn't excuse the poor score that I got this weekend.
What about you, Dan? You got did you bring in? There was a lot of people who brought in Matt Roberts from Sydney, and a lot of people went Tug as well. Are you one of those?
I'm not one of them. I actually brought in Neil this week, who scored 76, so about 100 less than he did the week prior. And then the other one was Seamus Mitchell. So no, it actually did quite well this week for trades in. Just avoided those guys.
Nice one. Yeah, I the only reason I didn't go that Matt Roberts bloke is one, because I wouldn't have known what he looked like, and I refuse to bring people in who I don't know who they are. And two, there's too many people who bring him in, so I just refuse to do what everyone else does. So there's a lot of people out there that brought him in, and he's done his knee, so he's gone. I got a mate who brought in him and Tug Miller in the one round, so Tug's out for an extended period. My mate's gonna shout out to you, Cam. You're a superstar there, but you're gonna have to get rid of double trade again. So there's absolute carnage for out there. A lot of people aren't even going to fill a side. So
just old Gould, like he was he drafted like 2018 or 2019 or something, and hasn't played a game until this one, I think. Will Gould
played last week. He was the sub, and then this week.
Games.
Yeah.
But it's like his first 2 games in like 600, 700, 800 something days, and he's now done his knee and he's gone.
Nah, wrong bloke, mate. This is Matt Roberts, not Will Gould, man. Come on.
Oh, well,
I've been in Japan, so we'll forgive you.
I've been in Japan.
I told you no one knows who Miss Matt Roberts bloke is. Not even you know him, and there. So that's all right. All good. So it's quite a bit of carnage out there. We're going to have to keep rolling through the trades as always. It might be worth a while again having a look at which rookies we're sort of thinking of getting rid of this week as we sort of build in. This is the time where rookies start to go. I just mentioned I got rid of Ashcroft last week. I should imagine you've both still got him. Mike, who are you looking at this week at this early stage for rookies at a time to go?
Yeah, well, it's not really that early, Scott, when you've got games in a couple of days. But I did hold on to Ashcroft. I thought he did all right on the weekend. Watched the Brisbane game. I think I've probably got I need 6 trades to get rid of the rookies that I want to this round. Ruben Ginbey went down in price this weekend. I've got Philippou. He's on the chopping block for sure. Chandler, Oscar Baker, all these sort of guys, even though some of them are on my bench, they're not going to make you much more. We spoke about last week, didn't we? That sort of 300K mark, if they can get to 300K. But I think a couple of these are bottoming out just before they get there. So I'm contemplating even just making a lot of coin buy rounds not too far away. I might even down trade all 3 of my rookies to some cheapies. It's probably going to be my strategy this week.
Yeah. What about you, Dan? Which rookies are on the chopping block for you?
Just looking through, I think the same sorts of names. I think we've got Cowan listed, who's been a slow burn. He's only worth 204, so it's not really worthwhile really getting rid of him because his break even is going to be around about his average. I don't know. There's a few there. I think I might probably Ginbey would be the one, Ginbey. Just looking at it as well, it kind of helps having the Sheasel and Zeeble getting defensive dual position status this week. So it's going to help me juggle around a few things, and I think he's probably going to be the one to get to go.
Yeah, look, I'm in. I've got. You're right. Cowan's not going anywhere. Ginbey dropped in price. Philippou's about the same as he was. Oscar Baker pretty much broke even. So even like Owen Davey, he's not scoring much. Chandler at least had an 85, so he might be worth holding on to. I guess it sort of depends what your needs are and also who we have to choose from coming in. So, Dan, I heard you mention that you brought in a rookie last week. Just remind us who you went with and why.
Yeah, I went with I went with Seamus Mitchell mainly just because I looked at it and I needed a defensive post and I was unfortunately I traded in Will Day the week that I think he scored 115 or something and then got rubbed out for those 2 weeks. So I needed a bit of bench cover for him and I thought, well, it's always an all right sort of thing getting this a player from the same team. That way, when one sort of then comes back in, if the other one goes out, you're still covered. Like you've got someone still playing. But he actually played pretty well. If you watch the game, he was involved in quite a lot of play. I reckon he'll still play this week, even though Will Day's back. So it was a good pick up in the end.
Yeah, look, I reckon Seamus Mitchell. Now he's up to 2 games. He was only at 1, so that's a nice. Not many people like to trade before they get to the 2 games, so that's not a bad way to go. But he's at 2 games. Scored 79 last week. I reckon he's predicted to make 55,000 or something. So I reckon he'll be the most popular trade in this week. I reckon he looked pretty good. Mike, what about you? You got any rookies lined up? You reckon we can have a go at?
Yeah, look, I think Seamus Mitchell definitely for me, especially I've said my strategy will be potentially even a triple downgrade. So I've named 6 I want to get rid of. I need to find at least 3 I want to bring back in. He's definitely top of the list. There are a few others who are on 2 games, probably none that are as attractive, but I guess it depends on which line you need to fill. Corey Wagner, 2 games, scored 64, 39, but projected to make 45K is probably another one. Given I've got a couple of mids I'm looking to downgrade. Really, there's not many others that are really knocking the door down, but definitely Seamus Mitchell and Corey Wagner, I reckon, 2 that I'll go for because I need especially forward and defence. Both of those can fill both those roles, so that's where I'll be going.
Yeah, I went Ollie Lord after 0 games, so I just went total faith that he might actually do all right. He looked good. He got 53. I think he could have scored much more. He sort of looked okay. I never can trust Kinkley. He seems to bring his blokes in and out all the time.
He kicked his first two kicks out in the pool. So
yeah, that's okay. But after that, he was all right. He looked okay.
Really well.
He's still got 53.
Let's be honest. He also played against West Coast. Let's not get carried away, regardless of how many times he bloody touched the ball. All right.
Yeah, look,
I'll be back at every single Carlton player this weekend. Bring him all the Carlton players.
Well, Dan, what about I don't even know how to say his name. The bloke who's played 1 game for Carlton, 102K.
Connor?
Yep.
Look, he looked pretty good. We were saying it before. Like if you look through the 2 teams, we had like 5 players that put in, and I reckon that was Cripper, Walsh, Chera. I think Kerno put in but didn't.
This is not a Carlton show, mate. We're not here to talk Carlton.
I'm just saying. Like he was one of the ones that actually looked like he was putting in. And yeah, so no, he did look all right. I think he'll get a game again because we've just got a few injuries in that sort of halfback position. So I think he'll keep getting games.
Do you reckon when Sardi and Doherty, whenever they're back, do you reckon he'd still keep his spot, or you reckon he's probably the first one out? Because that's sort of what you're going to ask yourself. What's the point if he's going to be out in a couple of weeks?
Yeah. It'd be he or Cowan, I reckon. And the way that Cowan's going in terms of points in SuperCoach is not great, but in terms of what he's putting on the actual football ground, he's doing his role. So you're right. I think he probably does lose his spot, but I think Doc's a fair while away. You might get a bit of cash out of him before then. But Sardi's the one that I think is back pretty early.
And I guess when you're downgrading as well, we got to look at which of the premos we're going to bring in, because whoever we bring in, we want to keep obviously for the rest of the season. At this point, I have to waste another trade because I've got Tug Miller. I've had him all year, so he's out the door. Who would you thinking, Mike? If you said you're going to triple downgrade, but when you decide to upgrade, who's your number one for your couple of targets? You go, yep, I need to have them.
Yeah. I actually had him first round and he went down. I thought his knee injury would leave him out for more than 1 week. One of them's Tom Stewart. He's now down to just over 15% ownership, break even of 98. So he's still going to go up. One of those ones, it was like Cripps last year. Does a hamstring and only misses 1 game. Same with Tom Stewart. Does a medial, comes back in 1 game. Would love to get the Bont in. These guys that are consistently scoring, him and Dawson and come on, the other bloke I was thinking of, but they all, I don't have those ones that are scoring 130, 140 every week. So if I can get Bont, Stewart in, they're the ones I'm targeting for probably the week after.
Yep. What about you, Dan? Who are you looking at in the next couple of weeks?
Yeah, I agree. I think Tom Stewart for me is the one that I need to sort out a plan for. Dawson, what he scored this week, 76. So his break even's 153 this week. I probably wouldn't rush to bring him in this week, but he's the number one scoring. Is he number 1 or number 2 scoring defender? Must be
number 2, mate. Number 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nick Dacos, number 1.
Nick Dacos,
so
yeah.
someone's got to. You're gonna have to end up bringing him in. But maybe not this week. Then the other one for midfield. I noticed you put him down on the list, Scott, was Caleb Sarong, who's having a bit of a purple patch. A little bit of a pun there because he's from Freo. There you go. He's going really well. He's got 130 on the weekend. I think week before that was pretty good as well. So he's getting the points that Bayshaw's not.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I had Stewart in round 1 as well, so I'll be looking to bring him back. I think you're right with Dawson. I refuse to pay for anyone who's over 650, regardless. I think no players can stay up there that high. Oliver got to 700 here, but he'll unless he shoots out of 180, he'll drop to about 630. So I'll be looking at him in a couple of weeks. I don't mind the look of Steve Caniglio for something different as a forward. So a lot of people have the same sort of forward. So I know he's up to about 20% ownership, but he's the next forward I'll be looking to bring in when I do. And yeah, I'll see how we go. Bloody Bont, man! I refuse to pick him because I don't know, but he is champion data's love child. So I think I have to fuck the bullet at some point. He sneezes on the field and there's 30 points, mate. So if you're watching Bont, mate, love it. Ah, dear. All good. All right. Any others, Minnie, that you're looking at, or with that'll do us?
Yeah, I think I don't know. I've banked a few wins in a couple of my leagues. I think I'm probably going to wait to really press the accelerator come the buy rounds. So I'm really trying. Cash is my objective for the next, at least for this week. So for those who don't have much in the bank, I think this is a really good opportunity. You've probably got a few players in your side that are sort of around the 280, 300, where their break evens are slightly more than their average. I think this is a good round for downgrading, making a bit of cash, getting those older and those are guys who are potentially going to drop down a bit.
Yeah.
So barring injuries, I think that's a pretty good strategy over the next 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, nice one. So out of interest, guys, just for fun, how many trades you got left, Dan? Willing to share?
I've been pretty.
You were in Japan, so
I'm fast and loose with trades. Oh yeah, I was in Japan, but I was just I don't know. I just checked it and went, all right. Well, I've got to fill some holes and trade some people out. So look, I've got 26 left. I've done 2 trades a week. Apart from that, I think I did 3 trades in that the end of round 2 just to get in a few of those rookies that we said we're going to go up.
Not
so
bad
I don't
after
necessarily have to do.
Yeah, not bad after 6 weeks to already be down 9-10 trades. That's the way. Mini, yeah, Mike, what about you, mate? How many trades you got left? Oh, here we go.
I'm a kid to Dan. I'm at 26 as well. I can't help it. I think I get to the point where I'm not banking as many league wins as I want. I start to panic. I'm like, I got to bring these players in pretty quickly. So the under 26, you got more this year, more rounds, yes, but I don't expect to come out of the bye rounds with many left. But you got to do what it takes to get to the finals, and that's going to be the aim.
Well, just to make you two feel better, I have 24 left. So,
Here he is bagging us.
I wasn't bagging you. I just was
wait.
curious. So,
how many bonuses is that then?
I've used a couple of boosts already. That's okay. All good. I've been a bit unlucky with injuries, so you've had to keep trading. I've had Steele. I've had Tug Miller now. Oh, it just keeps going. Stewart just keeps going and going. So whatever, just burn them. You can't take them with you, so you don't want to get to the end of the year and have them. Might as well use them now. The good news is I had 6 out of 6 league wins this week, so I might just not use 2 or 3 this round and actually just be okay with my side. Another curious, I'll just ask you guys, maybe I'll ask you, Dan, how many of the, so there's 8 forwards who've averaged over 100. How many of them, could you reckon you could name all 8? Or how many could you?
I've had a look at it just as preparation for this week. I do have a look. The only one that I think I could go close with it.
Yeah.
But I think I've got a fair few of them. So I've got in my forward line, I've got Dunkley, Taranto, Rosé, Goulden, Sheasel, and the other one's James Mitchell at the moment. But and Zeeble. So I think Dunkley, Taranto, Rosé, Sheasel, Zeeble are all going to be up there.
Yeah. So that's the thing. Like Taranto, Dunkley, Rosé, Zeeble, and Sheasel. That's 5 of them. And you're right. Most people have got 4 or 5 of those. So you're not really going to have much point of difference in your forward line. The ones one of the other ones over 100 is Darcy Cameron. He's obviously out long term, and then the one who's averaging the most still, which I don't reckon many people are still jumping on because people refuse to jump on pure forwards, is Jeremy Cameron. So that might be one for the people out there if they're thinking, oh yeah, I need a bit of a point of difference. I might go him. So he's the highest ranked forward, only in 12% aside. So might be one to think. What do you reckon, Mike? You willing to bring him in?
I'll have to check out his break even, which I don't know off the top of my head, but I didn't go with Toronto of the year. I think I said in one of the earlier episodes, it's just he butchers the ball, but he did score 144 last night. So
he was good.
He's shown me up. I think take away his 9 or 10 tackles and he scores 100, but he's still got 144. Kudos to you, Tim, if you are tuning in. But I don't have Taranto. I don't have Cameron. I don't have Zeeble. I don't have Cornelio. He's definitely one to watch, as we've spoken about. I did. I played as grand final rematch between me and Cameron on the weekend. And I tried to be a little bit clever with a few things, and I ended up bringing in terrible trade. I ended up bringing Liam Baker in last night at the last minute, and he was averaging over 100 until he scored 60. In hindsight, with Jaden Short coming back in playing that same role, is probably a pretty stupid decision. I thought I was being clever, and I think the guy I traded him out for scored 27 higher than him. So, and I only lost. Could have been a point of difference, but out of those 8, I think I only have 3 of them. So I've got some work to do.
That's it. And so that was sort of my point, is that most people have got those 100+ forwards. Same with 100+ defenders: Dacos, Dawson, Luke Ryan, Stewart, Zeeble, and Sheasel again. Obviously, Rampy's injured, and then Will Day, everyone will jump on this week when he's back. And then the other one is good old Jackie Lloyd, averaging 100 from Sydney, who not many people bother with this year. So again, most people are going to already have most of those. So really, you've got to look for some point of difference in the midfield where all those blokes are who are averaging 115 sort of plus. So good luck trying to get those blokes in if you haven't got them, because you'll be behind the 8 ball, and then try and stack up that midfield. Finally, we'll get back, boys, back. Dan's Rage Trade Corner. We did miss you. Lockie Ash, we've had in round 1, Dan. He's been no good, so don't worry while you've been gone. Bailey Dale, a couple of good games, but not really one to worry about. James Warple, he's up and down, so you're probably within your rights to trade him. Who's on your list this week, mate?
So while I was away, I after one game traded in Mitch Duncan to cover Sam Doherty. Mitch Duncan repaid me repaid my faith with about a score of 47 last week, and he was straight out the door. So if I was here, he would have been the one. I looked at it and I thought, oh, he's playing across halfback. He's a great user of the ball. This will be great. And he just did nothing. So straight out. And the guy I brought in was Lockie Neal, who scored 76. So a little bit better than Duncan's 67. So anyway, that was good. This week, look, I know we were talking about getting rid of some rookies for some cash, and I think the Jason Horne-Francis experiment might be over for me. I'm looking at him. It's his second 45-point score this year. I think he's had one score above 100, and the rest of them have been around about 90 or 80. I think his break-even's 99 this week. So I don't know. I'll see who's out there. He's the one, though. He's the one that's on the chopping block, probably ahead of everyone else as far as a raised trade goes, just not living up to it.
Don't say. We haven't got you on here to say, oh, we'll see how we go. You've got to go. He's got to go.
Lay it in, mate. Lay in it.
Lay it in.
Well,
Look,
26 trades would suggest that I will pull the trigger on it. Let's be honest. It'll happen.
Just don't do it, mate. Right? All good. Cool. We'll look forward to seeing Jason Horne-Francis score 150 this week. Should be good. All right, Mike. Last words of wisdom for the upcoming rounds. Not very far away. Any ideas, thoughts, want to share before we finish up, mate?
I think for the SuperCoach fanatics out there, I think you've got to start to be looking at your strategy come bye rounds, which are not too far away. So rather than simply looking at, what can you get the next round, I think you need to be looking at where does your team want to get to, in sort of 6-7 rounds when we sort of come out of those buys. So you've got to have a strategy to bring in those Bonts and Dawsons and Englishes if you don't have them already, like me. If you don't have them already, those absolute guns are averaging 120, 130 plus. If you don't have them now, you need a strategy to get them. So whether they're going to drop in price in 2, 3, 4 weeks' time, you sort of need to be looking as to when's the right time to pick those players if you don't have them. As I said, for me, it's making a bit of coin this round because I don't think I'll have enough to bring in any of those just yet with a view to get them in during the buys.
Nice one. How about you, Dan? What are you looking at this week?
I think I'm looking at the like we were saying in terms of that plan and looking at going forward. It looks like lots of the defenders are scoring more than the forwards. If you look at the breakdown of what's going on in those sort of top 6 defenders, top 6 forwards, the defenders are scoring a little bit better. So I might use a bit of a swap defensive forward, Zeeble and Sheasel for the moment, but I think they're going to be forwards come the end of the year. Maybe not Sheasel. We'll see how he goes. But yeah, I think for me it's making that plan of who I think I have to get in for the top 6 for most of those different for the defense and forward slots. And I'm sort of torn a little bit with it because I don't really want to use a heap of trades the next couple of weeks. I don't know. It's as you said, it's looking forward. If you also make the choice of maybe tanking 1 or 2 of those buy rounds in the hope of smashing one of the other 2 buy rounds, because we've got the weird buy round with the Cats and who's the other team?
Yeah, the Suns.
Cats and Gold Coast. So there's kind of 4 weeks where you've got a bit of a dip that you can look at this year, which is a little bit different to previous. And yeah, I don't know. It's always that iffy one, and the question of whether your opponent's doing the same thing. So just look ahead at that as well.
Maybe something all our followers out there can we'll have a chat about the buy rounds in more detail as we get closer to them in a couple of weeks. For me, I'll just do. I'm for the first time all year, I'm only going to go. I said 1 trade to get Seamus Mitchell, but I need to do 2 because, of course, Tug Miller's out. So there's another 2 gone. We'll just see how we go. I'll just try and fill the side. with I'm going to use 2 a week and be done by round 18, and then be out of contention anyway in all my leagues. So might as well go down swinging. All good. Well, thanks for joining us out there, Mike. Good to see you, Dan. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for everyone for watching us talk crap every week about SuperCoach, and we'll see you all next week. Thanks.
Thanks, Dan.
Good luck. Cheers.